Hello, and in this video, I'm going to do a quick design breakdown or just an explanation of the process that I went through using Photoshop and Dither Boy to create this piece and the effect within it, the effect that it's showing. Obviously, it's been Christmas. I made this piece at home. The piece is already done, and I'm just sort of going over the process after already finishing it like a week or two ago. Now, very quickly, if you are new here, I'm using in this piece of work an application called Dither Boy. This is a standalone software, so it's separate from Photoshop, meaning that you can still follow this tutorial even if you are using things like Affinity Photo or probably even Figma, to be honest, or like even if you've only got Dither Boy, you can still get the end result effect that we are going for here. I just use Photoshop to lay out the design before it goes in there. So if you want more information about Dither Boy, I will leave it all linked underneath this video and you can go and have a look. I'm going to be using Dither Boy 5.1.1, which is the Christmas update that we just put out last year now, because it's January, but obviously still very recent update. So it has some new effects in there. So make sure you get updated if you are going to follow along. Now, to get started, I have got Photoshop open here. You can see my PSD file is a bit of a mess because I just did this at home when I was bored over the Christmas break. I'm still getting used to recording tutorials on a Mac as well. So just bear with me if my layout is a little bit weird here or not what you're used to seeing. So I've got a stock image here with some text added in and my logo. The stock image is just of a moon, and it's this image from this photographer, or I believe 3D artist, called Alex Schuper. Obviously it's an unsplash like plus or whatever image, which I use because I can expense it through my business. But if you can't use unsplash plus, then to be honest, any image of a moon or just an orb of some kind will do. You don't have to use this one, but I've grabbed this image here from unsplash and just cropped out the moon essentially, so you can't see the guy standing here. To be honest, the heavy lifting or the main bulk of the work here isn't being done in Photoshop. It's just the layout that I did here. And if you are curious, I used Arial and a font that you just probably saw open on my screen called Benographic or Benographic, which is from that font, and I will leave linked below. I'm literally going to close Photoshop now because I don't need it anymore for this video. And here I have opened the Photoshop composition into Dither Boy just as a JPEG file, and I'm going to show you how the effect comes together here. So the first thing I'm going to do is just click on the effects checkbox here to open up the side panel, because I'm going to use some of these in a minute. But to begin with, we're going to go to style and select waveform, which is immediately loading in at a scale that is far too high. So I'm going to lower the scale down and I'm going to up the wave density a little bit too. And before we start messing with the adjustments here below, I'm going to go to palette category and I'm going to click on source and just load any of these really, because all I want is one other color other than black. So it doesn't really matter which one I pick. You can do this with no palette, or you can do it with, you know, one of the ones you've already got as well. It's just the one I used for this basically. Next, we are going to go and take chromatic effects and epsilon glow, and on the chromatic effects, just turn up the max displace all the way to 20 and then adjust a little bit your red channel. If I zoom in actually while I do this, adjust the red channel as far as you want and the blue channel as far as you want, and then you can dial those back in by turning down the max displace slider. So here, if we just keep it at 5, you still get a clear channel separation. And what this does with the waveform effect is it creates this doubled up effect. If you go a little bit further with it, you can line the waves back up with each other like the other way. So you can see here, like if I turn this off when there's no chromatic aberration and then tick it slowly as the lines move, because they're so close to each other anyway, if I just up that to 3 and then 6 and then 9, the lines are just like overlapping now because of all the channel displacement. So the chromatic aberration effect that we added works really well with the waveform effect, and that's why I chose to combine them on this piece. But for this, I'm just going to stick it at 6 pixels for the maximum displace, and I'm going to lower the glow threshold as well just to make sure we're getting more glow basically from the image. I'm not going to go for threshold 1. I'll probably go for like 6 or 4 just to cut some of it out. I'm also going to up the epsilon. The epsilon is just the minimum glow strength basically. So if you have the minimum glow strength be really, really low, then it's kind of a weak glow. But if you put it up, then the glow gets stronger. And then you can set the radius to more or less just like whatever your preference is. Doesn't really matter. You can always come back and edit all of this as well later on. So I more or less do the exact same thing every time I load waveform. And that is the first thing. I just up the contrast all the way, lower the midtones all the way, lower the highlights all the way. And generally you can already see it here. It creates these like streaking patterns that look really, really glitchy like these at the top. And all I'm going to try to do now is get these into the orb by moving the luminance threshold up. So moving the luminance threshold up is upping the minimum luminosity that a pixel needs to have in order to be included in a wave, basically. So when you turn the midtones and highlights all the way down, you can then just use the contrast and luminance threshold to dictate the rest of the effects. Might go back and lower the threshold a little bit more here, and also just lower the radius a little bit. Once you find a sweet spot where you're getting the effect to produce these weird patterns, so like this pattern here, if I move the contrast even a little bit, it starts to move around the orb. Yeah, that's kind of the goal with this effect, with like the glitch effect here that we're trying to produce, is to create this kind of weird output from the dithering using your adjustments and then applying the glow and the chromatic aberration to just sort of enhance them. But yeah, once you've got that and you're happy with it, you can then come back to scale and wave density to kind of just put a lever on the weird effect, on the glitch pattern that you're getting. So wave density 10, the perception of how different that is for us is not that different. Obviously, if you zoom all the way in, there is going to be a big difference between wave density 1 and wave density 10. But the way this affects the distribution of the pattern at such a low sort of low midtones, low highlights, it's quite dim, the image now. There are 20 different wave density iterations. So basically for each setting that you set up with the threshold and the contrast, you have 20 versions of that to sort of decide from using the density. I wouldn't recommend like messing with the scale just as much, just because if you go all the way to scale 20, you get this, which yeah, kind of looks cool, but not really usable for anything valuable, is it? So I like to go like scale 1 or scale 2 here, but that's up to you. So from here, like all I did basically was just export a bunch of different orbs, just find a nice little pattern like this one, for example, go to export that and then move my threshold around, move my density around until I get something unique again, and export again. Maybe go a bit further with the displacement on the chromatic effects just to get this like cascading waveform go through whatever shape it is you're dithering. The only thing to bear in mind while you do that is if you go to Dither Boy and click on preferences, if you're on Windows, I believe this is in help and settings, but Mac doesn't let you do that. They make you call it preferences, I think, for whatever reason. I can't quite remember. But yeah, if you go to settings and just make sure you've got lossless export on and then change your color profile. For doing like this vivid red, the Pro Photo V4 color profile I quite liked. There's not that much difference. You won't notice a massive difference, to be honest. But if you're doing vivid red like me, yeah, I quite like the Pro Photo V4. And as I said before, you can, of course, just go and do this in white and just have it be red, green, and blue from the chromatic aberration. Or you can go pick another palette with other colors, and just bear in mind that having such a low threshold on your epsilon glow will sometimes mess things up. So if I change palettes, it's probably best to up the glow threshold and probably mess with the depth as well. But for me, I'm just sticking to the source palettes for now so that I can keep my original colors. So once I'd got however many, I can't remember how many orbs I exported, it was probably like 10 or 20. Once I had all those, I noticed that the text was not readable at all with the waveform dithering, no matter what I set up really. Here it kind of is, but if you didn't know what that said, you would struggle. So I switched to Bayer ordered and upped my contrast to get something like this. You could also go like Ostromakov or like a diffusion dithering algorithm and just take one of those. And I did an export of the whole thing, and then I just comped the text out of the waveform one, and I pulled in a more like standard dithering algorithm for the text back in Photoshop, but you already saw my setup there, so I don't really need to show you that here. The main effect I wanted to show in this video was just the waveform, really. Yeah, I think this effect just has, it's just very versatile, the waveform dithering. I feel like it's kind of slept on, to be honest, but yeah, now you can dither your own orb with my effect. I'll show you a couple of the iterations that I exported on screen at the end of the video now, but just while I'm doing that and while I'm finishing off here, I just need to mention in this video that throughout 2025, I said the phrase quite a lot that we were going to be updating Dither Boy in 2025. Obviously, it's now 2026, and the good news is, thanks to all the support and like word of mouth and stuff created from everyone who's already got Dither Boy, we are going to be able to update Dither Boy probably all the way through 2026 as well. So I really didn't expect to be in this position. You're going to hear me say this at the end of every tutorial now for a little bit, just so people know. But yeah, we're still updating this. We're still going to keep going with the updates. To be honest, if things carry on how they're going, we'll be able to get quite a lot of the requests that people have put into the app, which is really, really good and I'm really happy about. But the problem is I kept telling people that the updates would stop after 2025. So yeah, more updates coming, more tutorials coming. If you have a request for what you would like to see in Dither Boy, then please let me know. You can also join the Discord now if you click on extras and go to Discord. Yeah, that's about it for this video. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one.